Hi, and welcome to this video about December's new moon in Capricorn. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
I'm Julia Mijas in Pioneer, California.
And we're going to tell you what this moon will feel like, when it's happening, and best ways you can handle it. So this is a new moon in Capricorn, which means the sun and the moon are together in very crusty, hardworking, stoical, and self-reliant Capricorn. And the moon doesn't like being in Capricorn, so this moon could absolutely feel like family is kind of an uncomfortable place to be, not exactly, well, maybe a bit of a prickly nest, shall we say, to try to settle into. And this moon is happening very close to the winter holidays. So we're calling this one Transactional Family Relationships, and there is a square to Ceres and Libra right here, to Jupiter and Aries right here. So during this moon, especially if you are visiting with family, you might want to ask yourself, can you sink into the bosom of family, or is it a hostile nest? Does it feel in that prickly way? Or can you relax into it? Are you wanting to spend the holiday working? Are you feeling like pursuing your ambitions is more soothing than spending time with family? And deeper than that, if you feel at all that your relationships with family members are transactional in nature, then this moon might push you to overindulge in spending or eating just so that you can cope with the situation. Julia, what are your thoughts? You had some great thoughts just a minute ago. Can you tell the audience those thoughts?
Sure. Well, there's Ceres, which is a mother archetype. Ceres represents the physical mother versus the moon, which is more the emotional mother. And the difference between those is the physical mother is the one who feeds you, who bathes you, who takes care of you when you're sick, versus the emotional mother who's a little bit more squishy and there for you to kind of soothe your tears when you're upset. So we have some mother archetype energy here, as well as Capricorn, which is the father archetype, the one who kind of kicks you out of the home, kicks you, not the bosomy parent, but the one who says, you need to learn to dress up for the right interview and get a job and kind of go out there and learn how the world works. And then we've got a tense square between these two. So again, I think that, there's a lot of parental vibes in this new moon, and a little bit of a tension between, a mama figure, and this is not gender specific at all. We all have a more nurturing and maybe a more disciplinarian parent. It doesn't matter which one is which. But there's a little bit of a tension between that kind of bosomy sort of, I'm going to feed you and take care of you, versus, maybe being questioned on what you're doing with your career and your life. That's definitely going on.
Yeah. And, when I'm looking at a natal chart, not as in this moment, but in a natal chart, and I see the moon square Ceres, one thing that I might tend to say to the person whose chart it is, I might say, when you were growing up, did you feel like you couldn't get physical affection and touch in the same transaction with emotional love and affection? Did you feel like it was a trade-off? And there might be some of that quality during this moon, I think. And then we have this Jupiter over here, who is just kind of, bouncy and
very festive.
Yes, right. So what sort of themes and elements do you think that Jupiter brings in, Julia?
Yeah, Jupiter, I'm very glad to see Jupiter in here, because Jupiter in Aries is very enthusiastic, very festive, might be impulsively generous, impulsively indulgent as well. The opposition to Ceres, like you alluded to earlier, might mean overindulgence with spending money. Ceres rules money, Ceres rules food, maybe buying lavish gifts, or maybe receiving lavish gifts in return. So that definitely adds a bit of, if not overdoing it, a bit of levity, a little bit more optimism into what could be totally prickly. And yeah, so for the most part, I do like seeing that Jupiter in there. But to have such a work themed and ambitious new moon right before Christmas, either you'll be too distracted or wanting to focus on work instead of family time, or family might be interrogating you about your future, how much money you're making. Do you should go back to school. We don't approve of that job.
Are you going to marry that nice girl and give me some grandbabies?
Yeah, we liked your old boyfriend.
All the usual pressure.
Family.
Yeah. And I'm thinking kind of two opposite thoughts about Jupiter and Ceres in this configuration. And one of them is that, if you do feel like, not really very close to your family, or like they don't get you, and yet you have to spend the holiday with them, and it can be awkward, and you might feel like, this is transactional, then you might feel, or they might feel like they just have to like give extra big gifts to kind of compensate for the affection that isn't felt or isn't received. Mm-hmm. And then I want to give the opposite thought that I have, which is that, the love languages, right? Yep. Everybody's got their different love languages, right? And in any family, there are bound to be people who have different love languages. And for some of them, the language will be gifts. And a winter holiday, when there's gift giving in the offing, when there's like a meal in the offing, when there's attention and affection, to be spread around, I think that it's important to make sure that everybody's love language is satisfied so that they can have the feeling of, family. Mm-hmm. And, you might think about your family members and how they receive love. And if you want to send love to them and they receive it best in a box with a big bow, then maybe that's what you should be giving them. And it might feel transactional to one person, but to another person, it might feel exactly right. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Well, this particular moon is happening at 1 degree of Capricorn. So if anything in your chart at all is very close to 1 degree of a cardinal sign, you're going to feel this moon more strongly. So if it's at 1 degree of Capricorn, or the opposite sign, Cancer or Libra or Aries, you would feel this very strongly, and for about 5 degrees on either side. So if you have something in your chart that's close to where this moon is, or square it or opposed it, then this moon will land with you more strongly than other moons. And that's what we have for you today. You'll find out more of the news of the month on our forecast page on our website, pandoraastrology.com. And there you can also find out more about getting a reading or taking a class, or you can watch your free horoscope video. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye-bye.